I'll go ahead and get it going here. So, good morning. This is a workshop covering an introduction to Google Classroom. We have about an hour with you today. And so, kind of touching on the tip of the iceberg to get you started in Google Classroom. And then we'll come back here, I think, is it May 20th, to do a more advanced Google Classroom and go into it a little bit more. And if you look at the slide deck here, you will see we won't get through everything today, but this is kind of like blended learning, flipped learning, that I'm going to give you an introduction of it today. And then if you do have time between now and next Wednesday, you can go back through the slide deck and see some other things we're going to cover as well. So a couple things here I want to talk about for the workshop information. We've got a sign-in sheet here for you if you can sign in on slide 2. And I'll go ahead and start sharing my screen as well. So when I do share my screen here, it may take up all of your screen right now. And what you can do, you can exit full screen. There's a couple different ways you can do that depending on the device you have. So you see my screen here. If in the upper right-hand corner, there may be a little icon where it says to exit full screen. So then you can put 2 screens on your monitor. And so what I mean by that on my screen, what I could do is I come up here and click this green circle. For me, that's for me to exit full screen. And so if I exit full screen, I can put this on one side of my screen. And then if I have another tab open, let's say I wanted this other tab over here, I can put this document here so I can see 2 screens at one time. Depending on what device you have, it could be a little bit different, but that's how, if you want to exit full screen, you could do that as well today. If you're not for sure how to do that, maybe put it in chat. Let us know what device you're using, and other people can help answer. We've got Patty here with us as well, and we'll do introductions here in a second if that's okay, Patty. She's putting in chat the slide deck too. If you look at my screen here, you can type this bit.ly link in or just copy and paste it from the chat room. The chat is at the bottom of your screen in the Zoom screen. So what you can do today for you to have access to the slide deck after today, when you do copy and paste this from chat and you put it in a new tab, I'll go to my personal account here. So this is what the slide deck should look like on your screen. And you can add this to your drive, or you could bookmark it. So if I wanted to add it to my drive, right up here, I should have a triangle and a plus sign. It's coming momentarily. It's still loading on my end. And when that shows up, then I can add it to my drive. Another thing you can do, okay, here it goes. Add shortcut to drive. So all I have to do is click on that shortcut, or the Google Drive icon, and I can put it in my drive if I want, or within my drive, I can put it in a folder. So if you have a folder called Google Workshops, or you create a new folder from here. So for example, if I wanted to put it in Google Workshops, I can just click on that and add shortcut here. If not, if I don't have a folder created, I can come down here and create a new folder, give it a name, click on the check mark to create the folder, and then I can add the shortcut here. Do you have to put it in a folder? You don't. I just wanted to teach you that you could, once you add it to your drive, you can organize it from your drive right from the, in this case, the slide deck. So that was going up here to add shortcut to drive, and then either adding it straight to your drive or selecting the folder to put it in. Now, another thing you could do, you could bookmark it. So to bookmark it, all of the slide decks, they have their own URL up here. So I could come up here and click on the star. When I click on the star, it turns blue. And then it's asking, hey, do I want to put it on my bookmark bar? I can. If I have my bookmark bar, if I have folders within my bookmark bar, I can put it in a folder within my bookmark bar so that it goes in the folder. Either way, I can do that. So if I just put it on bookmark bar and put done, it will appear on my bookmark bar. If you look at my bookmark bar, it's kind of full. So if I hit these double arrows over here to the right-hand side, you can see, oh, here's another document that's on my bookmark bar, but it's not showing up there because I ran out of room, and I can click on it to access it too. So that's two different ways you can access this slide deck later, either by bookmarking it and either putting it on your bookmark bar or putting it in a folder within your bookmark bar or within your bookmarks, or coming over here and adding to Drive. So again, if you have questions about that, put that in chat, and or we can help you at the end of the workshop, and then you'll also be able to come back and take a look at this recording to walk you through it as well. So again, we are trying to differentiate with this online workshop today. So I know people who are attending these come to these workshops with different levels, just like in a classroom. We've got everyone with different backgrounds and knowledge of these tools. So take a deep breath. We're here to help you. We don't want to overwhelm you. One thing that's easy about online learning, if I do overwhelm you at any time, you can just mute me and go back and watch the video, the recording later, or reach out to us, and Patty or I can help you as well. So then also here on slide 2, then I do have an evaluation if you can fill out at the end. And then Patty will be sending you the ISB evaluation at the end of the workshop. Again, depending on how busy she is, you know, allow 24 to 96 hours to get that. And then as you get that, then fill out the evaluation, and then your certificate or your evidence of completion certificate will be sent to you via email, and then that's what you can enter into your Ellis account. Again, if you have questions about that, feel free to email Patty or myself. I have a printable PDF file here as well that some people still would like to print this slide deck. You can do that by clicking on this link, and you can print it as well. And then I have been recording some of my sessions here the past week and a half, and I've been uploading them to YouTube that you can check them out as well. So welcome, glad you're here with us. Just want to introduce myself here. My name is Lisa Schwartz, and I did teach in the Quincy Public School District for 19 years. I taught 6th through 9th grade and various subjects. Majority of the time I did teach computers and computer science, and it was the Microsoft, taught using the Microsoft tools. And then the last few years of teaching, I try to introduce Google and learn about Google and teach that to the students as well. And I also got to learn from the students. Currently, I am working with the Learning Technology Center here in Illinois, and I'm a regional ed tech coordinator. I work with the 10 ROEs here in this green area and the school districts that are in those ROEs. Again, trying to help educators out there with professional development around their technology needs. If you haven't heard of the Learning Technology Center, that's okay. You can here on slide 4 read about our mission, and then I do want to show you on slide 5. I've got some other links here to learn about some other things. There's some other online learning events pages, some other opportunities out there that you can take some online workshops as well. And then we also have a LTC community that you can post things to, post questions, post comments. It's kind of similar to if you use Facebook and people post questions or comments. I know, or you might use Twitter. I know as a teacher, coming from the classroom, I didn't have a lot of time to be on Twitter. I'm trying to take a little bit more time and learn about Twitter. But that's another resource place that you could post things. But what the LTC community does here, we've got different groups you can post to and learn about. So if you're a Google school, you're on your journey with Google, you can become a member of this group. This is totally free. You can become members of several groups, but if you don't have Apple and have no interest in it, then you don't have to become a member of the Apple group. But for example, with the Google group, last week I had posted some questions about the Google exam because I had some teachers wanting to take the Google exam and it wasn't allowing them. So when I posted that, then people can comment back to me either on this post or privately. And then just yesterday I posted about the Google exam that they are opening up the old platform. So as you can see today, someone else posted here about electronic signatures. It's showing that 146 people viewed it, and then people can respond right here. So again, another place to increase your professional learning network to help maybe get some answers that you may have. So today, feel free in the chat, Patty. Oh, Patty, I forgot to have you introduce yourself. If this is a good time, go for it here.
It's okay. Everybody usually just gets an email from me. So this is my face, guys. So anybody, if you have any questions, I'm monitoring the chat. And I also took attendance. So you should be getting your professional hours after you take the evaluation within an hour.
Wow, you are on it, Patty. Thank you so much.
Well, I'm working with multiple screens here. It's nice.
Okay. Yeah, and that is nice having multiple screens. I do have 2 screens up, so if you see sometimes I'm not looking at the camera, I might be looking at your face on the Zoom screen. So, and that's on my left-hand side. So feel free in chat, introduce yourself, let us know who you are, what you teach, maybe what you want to get out of today and next week's session. But again, I went ahead and gave you the entire slide deck, so you didn't have to worry about which slide deck was for what day. And, you know, again, to help with differentiation, that if I'm covering something, you already know it, you can look ahead in the slide deck and allow for differentiation here. So feel free, again, put in chat to introduce yourself. And then, so going to go over the Google overview here and the Google Classroom for our session today. So I have you until 11 o'clock. But the main thing when you're working in Google Classroom or any of the Google apps, you want to make sure that you are using the Chrome web browser. Again, if you don't know much about technology, it's okay. We'll try to walk you through it. But why you want to use the Chrome web browser, because Google, you know, the Google Chrome web browser and all of the Google apps play nicely together. So what do I mean by that? If you know of other web browsers out there, so 2 other web browsers out there that I use sometimes is Safari, and some people call it the little blue E, Microsoft Internet Explorer. And if I would open up one of these apps with those web browsers, I might not have all of the functionality of those apps with those web browsers. So for example, I got an email the other day, a teacher saying that the voice typing tool in Google Docs was not working. Immediately, my #1 check is to see which web browser you opened up Google Docs in. Sure enough, she says, oh, I opened up Google Docs in Safari. So she didn't have all of the tools available to her using a different web browser. So Google kind of, you know, everything works nicely together when you're using all of the Google products. So Google Chrome browser and Google Classroom or any of the other Google apps. So follow that rule. Another thing here is logging into Chrome. So your Chrome profile, if you look up here, I have the same picture right here. I have the same picture up here in my Chrome profile and then the same Google account. You want to make sure that it's the same that you're working with, because if you have other accounts opened here, it could open up in another account and then you go back and look for it in the account that you're thinking you're working with, and it's not there. So again, if this doesn't make sense to you right now, it'll make sense if you have other accounts. So what I try to do is I just put one account with one profile. I put this here to show you that I can't add other accounts here, but I've signed them out. This, again, I thought, oh, I don't need to follow that rule. I don't have problems with it. Well, a while back, I had 2 different accounts open and it automatically saved to another account. We don't know the rhyme or reason of why it does that. So you might want to just make sure you're in the same Google account that's your Chrome profile. Again, if that doesn't make sense, I've got a couple different links here that you can look at later, or I can go over questions or go over that a little bit more at the end. So Google's mission is basically, as you can see here on slide 8, just to organize the world's information and, at our fingertips. We have access to it. So, I even find myself today, and I think even before this workshop started, Patty and I, we were talking about something, I can't even remember exactly what it was, but about the new things Google's coming out with. And she says she's just going to Google it. We do use it, like say, we just go and Google it. So we do have access to it. We don't have to be the experts anymore. As you can see today, I will love questions here, but do I have all of the answers? I don't, but you'll see maybe my process of how I go about trying to figure out maybe your question if I don't know the answer. Again, if you are new to the G Suite for Education, again, they have these tools available to us, again, to help us with the 4 C's. And if you look at slide 10 and 11, here's all of the different apps that are available in G Suite for Education. There are more than what's on here, but these are some of the core apps that teachers and educators use out there. So if you don't know something, let Patty know, and we can do some more workshops around some of these tools as well. On slide 12 here, what I'm doing is, the reason I'm not in presentation mode on the slide deck is because I am going to, as you can see, I've switched back and forth to different tabs, and I'm going to do that. I'm not going to talk to you just from the slide deck here. I'm going to open up my Google Classroom and show you some things. So why do we use Google Classroom? What will it help us with? Basically, for me, when I started to use Google Classroom, it was a way to organize all of the information and the classwork that I used for the students. So some of the common, well, as a teacher, my biggest problem as a teacher was being organized with the students who were absent, making sure I had plenty of copies or was able to communicate with the students what they missed on the day that they were gone. So Google Classroom helped me with that. As you can see here on these bulleted items, I could put all of our resources in Google Classroom and the kids could access it whenever they would like. So if they were at home sick and they did have technology and internet and they could access the Google Classroom, they could see what we were doing for the day. I could also, put materials in there. So if I wanted to have them watch some YouTube videos or, some websites I wanted them to go to, I could house it all there instead of creating a Google Doc and putting things in the Google Doc and sharing it with them. Another thing that was nice about this, if I was sick or if one of my kids at home was sick and I couldn't make it to school that day, I didn't have to drive all the way to the school to get my lesson plans ready. I could do it all from home, put it on Google Classroom, and then the kids could, access it. Sometimes, when I was gone from the classroom, the kids would say, oh, the sub didn't tell us to do that. Well, that kind of took that away. They didn't have that. I taught them about Google Classroom, taught them, hey, anytime if I am absent from school, here's what it's expected. I could put a note in stream as well. So why am I also talking about some of these other apps when this is a Google Classroom workshop? The reason being is Google Classroom integrates into Google Drive, and then you can use all of these other apps to integrate into Google Classroom as well. And I'll show you that today as we are creating some assignments. So if you look here on slide 14, I'm going to go ahead and go into my Google Classroom, but I'm going to talk about some of these things here. So how do you first go into Google Classroom? There's a couple different ways you can go. You can create a new tab and go to your waffle. And your waffle's over here in the right-hand corner. And this is where all of your apps are in Google. If you see some apps up here that are different than yours, you might want to contact your Google admin and see if you can have access to it. I know some school districts might block Meet, might block Chat, so you might not see that. Another thing with my apps over here, if I click on Drive, if Drive I use all the time and I want to move it up here, I can move these apps wherever I want. So they could be in different order. So if I just click on it and drag it, I can drag it to where I would like to. So you have access to that. Another thing, so I could go to Classroom over there with my waffle. I can also just type in classroom.google.com. So any of the apps out there within the G Suite apps for education, you can just type in blank.google.com. So Drive, Docs, whatever the app is. So that's two different ways you can do that. People can bookmark it as well. People can put it in their shortcuts. So multiple different ways. So that's what's great about technology is it does enable you to differentiate in your classroom so much easier. So right here on my home screen of my Google Classroom, this shows you all of my classes in Google Classroom. So if I want to go into one, so if I go into the differentiation workshop one, it shows that there's a quiz that's due today. So anything that's upcoming and due, it will tell me right here on this screen. But then it also tells me other places. It also tells me right here, upcoming, due today quiz. So this is what the kids will see as well as this will be off to the left-hand side, that the kids will see what's due for this classroom, because with this day and age, with especially remote learning, they may have 7 or 8 different Google Classrooms that they have to look at. So when they go to their home page, that will kind of just show them, here's all of their classes that they're members of, and it can do a snippet of what's due today. So, if they know something's due in here today, they may go and look at that classroom first and work on that. So with some school districts, you know what, let me step back here. I didn't teach you how to create a new class. So a couple things. If you want to create a new class or students to join a class, all you have to do is come up here to this plus sign. So when I click on that plus sign, it allows me to join a class or create a class. So if I'm the teacher, I create a class from here. And again, even though I create a class right now, I can go back and edit it. I can, if I wanted to, I could go back and change the name of the class. Everything with, with Google Classroom, you have the ability to go back and edit. Another thing here, join a class. So if a kid was joining a class, all you would have to do is for the child to click join class. Usually the students can only join classes that are in their domain, meaning students can only join classes within their school district. So they can't go in and join someone else's class from another school district. And then they would have to put in this class code. I'll show you where the class code is here in a minute. There is a workaround to this. Some school districts that sync their school information system, whether it's Skyward, Teacher Ease, or there's some other ones out there that play nicely with Google. I'm sure those companies have to pay Google some money to be able to do that. But some of the school districts can roster your classes for you. I know some of the things will be pushed out here in August. Some of the programs, some of the school information systems are already talking nicely and playing nicely with Google. So we can Google it to see if your grading system works with Google Classroom. But I know Skyward was in beta. I think they're supposed to roll it out for sure here in the fall. And then I know Teacher Ease is already rolled out with Google Classroom. So if I go back into my differentiation workshop here, so if I had to have my class join my Google Classroom, and this is how I had to do it back in the day. Google Classroom's 5 years old, so I guess when I say back in the day, it's not too long ago. But so when I had to have my students join my classroom, what I did was they had to use this code to join it. I put another student in charge. I would put these codes on a piece of paper and had the paper around the classroom so it was easy accessible for them, so I didn't have to stop all the time, because that was another problem in the classroom, is making sure when I got new students that we got them up to speed with our class and got them to join into our classroom on Google Classroom. So I can enlarge that so they could see that. Now, sometimes, you have this code and you're not for sure if that's an L, I, whatever it is, you can go in and change that code too. And to change that code is up here in the gear. So anytime you see a gear or 3 dots within Google Classroom, that means there's another menu there. There's other items you can manipulate. So right here, if I go up to the gear, I've got where I can manipulate it. Just like I said in the beginning that I named it, I can go here and give it a different name if I want. I can add section, room number, class description. So if I don't do this in the very beginning when I add the class, go to the gear, which is the settings, and I can manipulate it there. And then I was telling you here under class code, you could click on this down arrow. I could display it from here, copy it. I could reset it so that hopefully it gives me a different class code that I know for sure if it's an L or an I. Or I can disable it so that other people can't join after the fact. But again, with Classroom, with kids moving in and out all the time, or dropping or adding the course, I always kept it on so that the kids could join at any time. Another thing Google just pushed out, so whether you like this or not, we don't have to wait 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, 5 years for updates. Google will push them out at any time. With this remote learning, there was a lot of hiccups with Google Meets. I don't know if any of you use Google Meets to meet with your students within the course of this remote learning. Well, the big concern was students joining before the teacher, or students staying on after the teacher, or the teacher getting the link to them. So with this Google Meet in Classroom, then if the students know that you're going to meet every day at 10 a.m. or whatever days at 10 a.m., you don't have to send them new links anymore. They can just access it from here. So if I was the student clicking on this link, I wouldn't, and I can show you here. I've got an account here that's a student in my classroom, and Google doesn't allow you to do this. The Learning Technology Center set this up for me, but hopefully someday Google will figure out a way that you could have like a student view, that you could see what the students see. So right here, this is Blake, a student in my classroom here. So if Blake were to go to this meet, let's say he chatted with another student in the class and said, oh, let's go talk on Google, use our link, the Google Meet link from Google Classroom. If he tries to access this, this is what will happen. It says, sorry, we encountered a problem joining this video call. It won't allow the students to join until the teacher's there. So what some teachers are doing during this remote learning, if the meeting was supposed to start at 10, what they might do is at 9:50 or 10, 15 minutes before the class starts, they would go ahead and log in and then let the kids have a conversation, but while the teacher was still there. So again, that's for safety and security of the kids not meeting going into the Meet without the teacher. Now, once you are in the Meet and the students are in the Meet, if you're wanting to leave, if you've got two students who are wanting to stay on and keep talking and they won't leave the meeting, you can remove them. And to remove them, all you would have to do then, click on this Meet here, and I could join. I can show you then how Blake can join. I'll try not to stay on too long because it'll might make me lag here. But as a teacher, I can join now. And then I can add people from here if I'd like, but if I go back to the student view, then what I could do, so here's the student view. It should allow the student to join now. Do you see how the screen's different? It's saying who's on the call, and then that student can join now. So then this is what they'll see as the screen. So this is the student screen. If I want to go back to the teacher screen, what I can do right here, do you see where it says Blake? He's one student that's in my Google Meet. If I want to remove him, all I have to do is hit this to remove him if I, the teacher, want to leave the meeting. Now, if I, the teacher, just close out of this without removing the students, I just close out of it and I didn't remove my students, the students are still in the Meet. So make sure you as the teacher remove the students if there's any students in there still. So this is the Meet that's right there in Google Classroom. So hopefully that helps and might make your life easier the last few weeks of remote learning that you have with your students if you do use Google Meet. So then here, along here with Google Classroom, I can change my theme. I can even upload a photo up here. So if you take a picture of the students in the class and you upload a photo, then they can all see themselves as they log in here. So what I'm going to talk about now is the stream. So up here you've got 4 tabs. You've got stream, classwork, people, and some people may or may not have grades. Again, it depends on your district policy about whether you're putting grades here on Google Classroom as well. But what the stream does, it is a place for you to, you can put conversations, put announcements. All I have to do is come down here. It says share something with the class. And right now I'm in the differentiation workshop. I can share whatever I want right here. I can type it. And let's say I want this to go to all of my classes. I can select all of my classes right from this one stream and this one classroom, the differentiation workshop class. Now, if I want to, let's say I just select this class and I only want this to go to 1 or 2 students, I can come over here to all students and I'll say, oh, I don't want it to go to Lisa. I just want this message to go to Blake, and I can set that up. Now watch what happens when I select more than one class here. So it's going to my differentiation workshop class. Why? Because this is the one I'm working in. That will always be the default. If I go to my rubrics class, do you see it's got 2 classes, but it fades out, it turns gray, all students. So if I am working with more than one class and I'm wanting to post it to more than one class, then I can't select the students in both of those classes. Will that be a feature someday? It may. I know a lot of teachers have asked that, but again, it's the programming on the back end of Google of what they've got to do. So right now, just know that when you just select one class, you can select which students you want it to go to in that class. But if you select multiple classes, the all students is grayed out, and that's not an option. And then you could also add here, you can add anything from your Google Drive link, file, or a YouTube video right here to stream. So stream basically is for announcements here to let the kids know what you've posted, or if you just want to make a general announcement. So if you come over here So as soon as I type something in here, I can post it. So I can post it right now so the kids, it goes on their stream right now. If I click on this arrow right here, I can schedule it. So if I don't want them to see this message, if I have this class at, let's say at 8:52, and I want it to go on their Google Classroom at 8:55 or whatever time, I can schedule it for that. Or I can even save it as a draft and decide when to push it out later. So you've got some options over here, and it's using this down arrow here. If you also look right here, so I'll go ahead and just post it right now. So then you can see the time I posted it, I just put, have a great day. Now, if I'm like, oh, I made a spelling mistake or made an error, just come up here to the 3 dots. I can edit it, I can delete it, or I can copy this link. So then I can post this to other classes. The reason maybe I didn't post it to all classes right now because I didn't want it to go to all students. So I would have just selected one class at a time. But if you notice here on my stream, it shows when I posted a new assignment, and it was called Quiz, May 6th. I posted another new assignment called Form Example. And as you can see on the stream, you can also have it post assignments here that it'll put the announcement here. I didn't type it here on stream, and I'll show you what I did in Classwork to get it on here. But as you can see here, I just came up here to stream, and here's how I added a video. So I could just, share something with your class, and I can just add a video from here as well. So again, if I have the video that I know I want to put in here, I can go to the URL and paste it here if I have it. If not, I can do a video search from here. Jerry Brooks, if you haven't seen any of his videos, he's a principal from Kentucky, and his backstory is interesting, and his videos are usually 3 minutes or under. So he's very relatable. So that's usually my go-to. I put Jerry Brooks in here, and then let's say I want this video or this video, just click on whichever video I want. Do you see how it turns blue and then it says add? And I can add it right here. And then, okay, it's added. Then I can tell the kids, watch this video. I mean, I want to send this for the students to watch, and then when I type in something up here, I can post it. Do you see before when I didn't have anything typed in there, I couldn't post it. So I do need to have something typed in there. And then I can just, again, schedule it for later. If I want it to be scheduled tomorrow at 8 a.m., I can do that, or I can change it to whatever date and time I want. If not, again, I can just go ahead and post it. And then do you see also right underneath it, I can add class comments. So again, go back up here to stream, or to the gear. And under the gear, I've got the settings. I showed you about the class code. Right under that, I've got where students can post and comment. Again, depending on the age of students that you're teaching, you may or may not want to allow them to post and comment. You can also give them permission that students can only comment, or only teachers can post or comment. So again, when I taught 6th through 9th graders, it was a place for them to post and comment. I taught them about digital citizenship, about the appropriate things that they should be putting out there and posting, and comments, and that Big Brother's always watching, that we can see everything they post. So it was a good teachable moment. Did I still have
questions?
Yeah.
Can you, if you allow them to make a comment, can you delete it if they've posted something inappropriate?
You can.
Okay.
Yeah, and Google even put out where you can mute a certain student, that you don't have to turn it off for everyone. So here, Blake posted this comment. I can come over here and I can delete his comment. And do you see right here, I can mute him. So he can't comment, but everyone else can. So again, this feature wasn't always out there where you could just mute one student. So because in the past I would have, you know, I usually had 30 students in a class, if not a little bit more. And 29 of the students were awesome with the stream, and I just had one student who was abusing it. So I had to turn it off for everyone. But I hated to do that. But now you don't have to, you can just mute the student. And then right here, you can see I've got where, you know, had Lisa post that she wants to share her screen during the meeting today. And then Blake can comment on that. So students can comment on each other's post as well. So yeah, great question. And then again, if you don't remember anything from this workshop today, hopefully you'll remember, no matter what app you're in, anytime you see the 3 dots, that brings up another menu of other options and the gear. The 3 dots and gear should become your best friends with as you're maneuvering and learning about the different apps out there in Google. So again, where was I at with that, with the gear? So I appreciate Kelly asking that question there. And here's a stream. If for some reason I don't want students, you know, the whole class to not comment, I can turn that off. So right here under the settings, under general, the stream. So classwork on the stream. So as you saw where I posted some information. I can have it show condensed notifications. If I wanted to, I could have it show all of the attachments and details, or I could hide notifications. So again, with us all being different out there, and if students have different, you know, teachers using Classroom, there may be different ways to organize it. So you will want to make sure you walk through the process of how you organize Google Classroom with your students. So right now I've got it where it shows the condensed assignment. It doesn't show attachments here. The only attachments it shows here is what I added through Stream. So when you go and want to assign your class work, go to the Classwork page. So when I assign this to the students right here, it says Lisa Schwartz posted a new assignment called Quiz on May 6th. I didn't come to Stream and type that. That automatically went to Stream so kids could see, oh, there's something new posted out there. You don't have to have it on Stream because there's, you know, the kids could just get used to looking here at the Classwork page to see everything. Again, differentiation, what you think is organized for you may not be logical or organized for the students. So again, take the time to explain your thinking of how you organized your classwork. So what do I mean by that? So right now in Classwork, you can see I just have a bunch of things here assigned. Then if I scroll down, it looks like it's organized a little bit. I've got it organized by questions, by, this was insert learning, this is a extension I've used before, math, chapter 5, quiz. So you can organize your topics however you would like. There's, you know, I've worked with teachers, I'm thinking there's 10 or 11 different ways that I know some teachers, how they organize classwork. Again, it may seem organized to you, so share it with your students, your thinking behind it. So if you come over here to all topics, this shows how I've got it organized. Is it right or wrong? No, I just wanted to show you some different ways that some teachers have it organized by, they put different questions out there. Maybe they organize it by the different extensions that they're using. Or some of you, if you have, you know, kids, if you're teaching the kids in one classroom and you've got, you know, them for math, science, social studies, whatever, you might want to organize it by subject. If you don't have multiple classrooms, I mean, could you, let's say you've got the same kids all day long and you're teaching them all of these subjects. Could you have a separate classroom for each subject? You can. Again, it depends on what works best for you. Remember, technology is supposed to be your friend and help your life hopefully get easier. here, you know, someone could organize it by chapters. And then another person, you know, organize it maybe by chapters, but then also put the quizzes all under one topic. So to do this then, if I go up here to create, and I've got several different items I can create. I'm just going to show you assignment for right now. So to create an assignment, I need to put a title in. So if we're learning about capitals, let's just say state capitals, and I have an assignment for them to do, I can put instructions here. The assignment could, or the instructions could be on the assignment that I attach. And how I operate, I would always create the assignment first if it was something I wanted them to complete, and then I would come here and add it. So I would, if it was a Google Doc or whatever it may be, then I would create it in Google Docs and then add it here. So all I would have to do is click on add and go to Google Drive. And when I am in Google Drive here, then I can add, let's say we're working on pivot tables and Google Sheets, and this is the table that I want to add. I just click add, and so here it's called pivot table. It's the name will transfer over whatever I've named the file. And then what I can do here, do I want students to view this file so that they can't edit it? Do I want students to edit this file? Or do I want to make a copy for each student? So in this case, I want to make a copy for each student so then students can manipulate this. And, you know, if this was a Google Sheet and we were putting all the state capitals in a Google Sheet, they would get their own copy once they open up the assignment. So if this was the state capitals, I could say, complete the state capitals. And whatever else I wanted, I could put the instructions right here. Now, if I wanted to add a video in here or add other documents, I can. I've added, as you can see, one Google Sheet. I can come back here and hit add. I can put in a video, a file, a link, or if it's in my Google Drive, just go back to my Google Drive. And you can see it shows my recent. I could go to my uploads. I could go to my drive. And in my drive, then I have access to all of my files that I can just easily attach to my Google Classroom. So if there's something under digital citizenship that I want to attach to this assignment, again, if I want to attach a slide deck, I can. If I want to attach a PDF, so if I click on that, hit add. And again, I've got students can view file, edit file, or make a copy for each student. So I'll put students can view file for this one, so you can see the difference. And then let me go back and add, go to my Google Drive. Let me go back and add just our slide deck from today. And let me show you then students can edit file. Okay. So then over here to the right-hand side, I've got, again, I can have this go out to one classroom. If I know that several classes are going to do this exact same assignment, I can select the classrooms all right here, right now. But did you see the all students? What happened to that? I don't know if you can see that on your screen, but when as soon as I selected another class, it grays it out. I don't have access to that. So there is a workaround with this that we can reuse a post. So if I know that I want it to go to just certain students in my differentiation workshop, again, just select the differentiation workshop class and turn off the students that I don't want it sent to. And I have control over that. But if I know I want to use this post again for another classroom, I can do that as well. And I'll show you about the reuse post here in a second. So then right here, I can put down how many points I want it to be. So I'll make it 10 points. Due date, again, with the classroom, when I use Classroom, I first started to not put the due date on some assignments, and then the kids thought, oh, there's no urgency to work on this assignment. It doesn't have a due date. I can work on that tomorrow. I can work on my math, for my math class that's due next hour right now, instead of working on my computer science work. So I always did try to put a due date, but if I saw that the kids were working and they needed more time, again, I could always go back in and edit that. So, you know, every person's different. You do have the flexibility, do what works best for your classroom. So if I put down May 14th, I could put an exact time that I want it turned in as well. Topic, here's where I could put a topic. So if this was under chapter 5 work, I could put chapter 5. If I don't have the topic here, I can create a new topic here. So again, some people like to create all the topics in the beginning as they're creating this classroom, or you can create the topics as you go. Do you have to put it in a topic? You don't. If you don't put it in a topic, it just goes to the top of the stream. Or excuse me, at the top of the classwork page. You also have options about you could add a rubric in here as well, and originality reports. We're going to go into more of that on Wednesday, next Wednesday. But again, you've got the slide deck here that if you've got time between now and next Wednesday, you can go back and take a look at the rubric and originality reports as well. So then all I have to do, so I look it over, I like what I see, I can go here to assign if I want, or again, I can schedule it or save draft. I have all of these options here. Now, what do you think happens to schedule if I have 2 different classes that I want this assigned to? If I go back up here, do you see the word schedule? It grays out. Again, I can't schedule it for more than 1 class at a time. So if I want to be able to schedule it, I can only then select 1 class at a time. So I'll go ahead and assign it. And then let me show you about reusing the post. So if this is the post I want to use for my other classes, but I didn't select them right now because either A, I forgot, or B, I wanted to only go to certain students, and or C, I wanted to schedule it out, all I would have to do, so here's, if you look here in my classwork page, state capitals are right here, and it says it's due May 14th. It didn't go under a topic because I didn't put it under a topic. So if you don't put it under a topic, it'll just come up here. At any time, again, I've got the 3 dots here. I can edit, I can delete, I can copy the link. Another thing I could do, if I click on it, I can see what is all in that assignment. I can see the instructions and what I've attached. I can also click on view assignment as well. It shows that 0 students have turned this in, but it's been assigned to 2 students. And then also, do you see, I can grab it and drag my mouse, so then I can move it within my, well, it doesn't look like it's moving. Okay, so maybe they changed that, but I could, right here, if I click on these 3 dots of the topics, I can move this topic down. So if I hit move down, it can go under questions. So I can move the order of the different topics. I can, you know, again, click on the 3 dots. I can move this up. I can move within topics. I can move them up and down. So again, I can hit the 3 dots and hit move up, or usually if I grab it, I can change the order of them as well. I don't know, maybe I'm doing something wrong. Okay, so I even moved it down here to a different topic by grabbing it and moving it to a different topic there. So if I don't want it moved, I can just put it back there. So again, multiple ways to do the same thing. Okay, there we go. Another way, if I come back up here to reuse that post, you know, before I showed you creating assignment, if I go right here and hit reuse post, click on reuse post. Okay, so I'm in my differentiation workshop, and let's say I want to reuse this post of the state capitals, or whatever post I've got. All I have to do is click on it, and then hit reuse. So here's the post here. And then I'm going to, if I need to, I can change the points, put the new due date in, put it for whatever class I would want right here. And I can reuse the post that way. And then when I'm ready, I can assign it. So so right now I'm in my differentiation workshop. To maneuver around, if I want to get to my other classes, or if you come up here to the 3 lines, if I want to get back to my home page of Google Classroom, I can click on the 3 lines and I can go back to classes that way. Or I can just click on the 3 lines and I can go to a different class right from here. If I just click on differentiation workshop, that takes me back to the home page, which is the stream. So as you can see, I was working in Classwork on the Classwork tab. And when I posted this new assignment, state capitals, I had it automatically go to my stream. I didn't type this or put this on my stream. If I don't like this, I can go ahead and click the 3 dots. I can edit it if I want, copy the link here as well, or go back here to the gear. And you remember we were talking about stream, the classwork on the stream. I have it showing condensed notifications. If I want the stream to show all of the attachments and details, I can. Again, I have turned that off personally. That's just the way I've organized my classroom, that the kids need to go to the classwork page to look for their assignments. It will show the condensed notification, but not then, it won't show everything. If I don't like that, I can hide the notification. So again, you have control over this, whether you like it or not, and again, how you want to organize it. As you can see under here, under the gear, which is the class settings, I've got show deleted items. I can also guardian summaries. We can have guardians get summaries of our Google Classroom. They can't see our Google Classroom, but if I hit see example, here's what they would get. So if you did invite guardians via their email, they would first have to accept your invitation to get the email summaries. And then if they did accept it, what they would see missing work, any upcoming work or class activity. So if they wanted to actually see the Google Classroom and the environment, they would have to ask their child to log into their Google Classroom to see it. But this is all they would get. So they wouldn't see every single thing that the child sees in Google Classroom. Again, working with several different school districts and teachers, depending on the age of the child or the age of the student you're working with, majority of the time high school teachers don't see that if they do invite guardians, that the guardians accept the invitation to get those emails. Again, the elementary kids, parents, they want to know what their kids are doing, so they see it. Do you have to invite them? Again, there's pros and cons to that, but you do have control over that. One thing with me, if guardians signed up to get the email summaries and we changed the due date, if I forgot to go back in and change the due date on the assignment and it was the weekend, and it might show that if it was supposed to be due on Friday and here it's Saturday, the guardian sees, oh, Johnny's got some missing work in Mrs. Schwartz's classroom. I'm going to ground him, or he can't do anything until he finishes that work. So that could be a downside if you do change the due date at times and you forget to go back into Google Classroom and update the due date. So that only happened a couple times, and then from then on out, I remembered to make sure I updated the due date if we changed that. So as you can see, there's a lot to learn and go through. I remember learning about Google Classroom and thinking, how am I going to do all of this? Did I make mistakes? I did. The the kids, sometimes when I shared things with the students, I gave them editing rights, and they're like, Mrs. Schwartz, my questions are gone. Well, students not knowing that they had access to delete the questions. Again, that was my error. So we learned as we went along with Google Classroom. Google has made it a little bit easier, so that won't happen if you don't want that to. You can make a copy, but even if you do make some mistakes, let the kids know that you're learning this as well. But it will get easier the more you work with it, hopefully. So most of the teachers that I've worked with, they might be overwhelmed here in the beginning, but they said, yeah, you were right. The more that I worked with Google Classroom throughout the year, the more comfortable I got with it. So hopefully then this is, again, a short introduction of it, going over Stream and Classwork. And what we'll do is we'll go over Classwork a little bit more on Wednesday. I believe it's May 20th. And Patty, if I'm saying the wrong date, please correct me. Good to go. Okay. And so between here and then May 20th, then hopefully you'll have some time to play around with it. Feel free to go back to the slide deck. As you saw, I didn't really talk much about from the slide deck once I started to talk and show you Google Classroom. But what I did try to take snippets of or screenshots of some of the different things that I've talked about and added it in here so you can go back to look. And then also Patty will put the recording up on the ROE webpage as well. So if I know I'm a minute past my time here, but want to thank you for joining us today. If you've got time, I've got time to answer some questions. So feel free to stay on, but again, I want to honor your time and thank you for joining us here today with Google Classroom. So hopefully we haven't scared you away from coming back next Wednesday.
Lisa, I just want to thank you for all of your help through this process. It's nice to have someone that's actually showing the movement of a specific Google Classroom. So thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. Thank you. Yeah, and next Wednesday I will show you more of that student assignment, posting it, and what the student view looks like too. Because that's a nice feature. I didn't have that when I was in the classroom, but I had a student there. I'm like, okay, can I see what this looks like on your side? So hopefully Google will get it figured out here that teachers will be able to see that, especially during this time of remote learning.
I left my email in the chat, so if anybody needs anything, you should have your evaluations actually in your mailboxes right now. So
wow.
I try to multitask. It's not really a good situation. Let me know if anybody needs anything then.
Okay, well, I appreciate it. And then also if you can I think my evaluations, maybe 3 questions. Again, put suggestions, comments there as well. But feel free, I don't know, were there any other questions in chat there, Patty? Or feel free, you guys can unmute yourself and ask questions. I'm, the teacher in me, I always love questions. I miss that interaction, the live interaction, but we can still have interaction here with remote learning.
I think I pretty much answered all the chat questions,
Okay.
hopefully correctly. So if anybody needs anything, I'm excited for Advanced Google Classroom right now too.
Okay.
Next week.
Good.
I'll go. I have another question.
Yeah, I love questions.
I teach 3rd grade.
Okay.
So I'm just doing this in anticipation of needing to do more remote learning in the fall. But my hurdle is going to be our kiddos don't get their personal Google school accounts until 3rd grade. So I have to teach them how to send an email
Okay.
and like digital responsibility and about how to post things. So I was able to set up a classroom. So if you just can think of any tips, I'm talking super basic so that I would have this as a platform, because right now we're super packet based, and so there's a lag in me getting my work, looking at it, giving feedback to the kids. So I'd like to be able to use this a little bit more, so that my kids who are doing digital work get more instant feedback from me, rather than me posting through Class Dojo. That's my digital platform that they are familiar with.
Uh-huh.
So any basic tips on trying
I think just taking time.
to jump over that giant hurdle with the kids that I'll have?
Yeah, think about how you are as a learner as well. And kind of what I'm kind of doing today, going through some of the basics with Google Classroom and how it's set up. Some of the kids will need that, especially, if not all of them, since they're, going to be the first time with Google Classroom. Some will figure it out faster than others. But again, what I have found with working with my own students in the classroom and with teachers, that we need to make sure we explain our organization to the students, because how it's organized to you might not be how their brain differentiates and understands the workflow of the classroom. So
I'm probably thinking, because I won't have multiple classes like a junior high or high school, that it would be like their daily work. Here are your links for reading or spelling, or just, it would kind of mirror what we've been doing paper-based, but also give that option. Are there any like simple videos that available that I could post to help familiarize the parents with it too? Because I'm going to have to help teach the parents if that's what we're going towards. So I'm just trying to think of like as a basic introduction. So if there are any like kid-friendly YouTube videos or user videos that I could post on my stream, I'm hoping we get to meet in person in the fall a little bit so I can establish a relationship, but I don't know if that's going to be so.
So from experience with coaching and actually working with, it was actually a kindergarten class that ended up getting Chromebooks, which is kind of awkward because they just didn't know,
Sure.
how that all worked. They were familiar with Dojo, so we posted videos to Dojo. It did take probably about 2 weeks for everybody to kind of get through and actually log on to their actual system, and was able to go through the different classes, because it was multiple classes. So I think that posting videos to a platform that they're familiar with is ideal. If there's no interaction in the fall,
Right.
that's what I highly recommend. And there are user-friendly videos out there on YouTube. KidTube has some stuff too. So just that's kind of what we did. We also talked a lot about it was actually a kindergarten class for media center coaching, and so we had to do various levels of digital citizenship. So that was that was really interesting. So
are you familiar with Seesaw at all? Because I know that's another option too, and I don't know what my admin is going to want the school to do, like as a whole, for more of a younger group.
So I highly recommend just communicating with your school district. I have had admin meetings the end of last week and early this week, and they are starting to plan for next year. At the beginning of this pandemic, they're like, I can't even talk the next day. So when it comes down to it, school districts may be making decisions on a common platform. So before you go ahead and do all that groundwork, you want to make sure that they're what their message will be to parents and what their message to the teachers are going to be. And some schools are in that process right now.
Right.
It's just nice that we, as an educator, I try to take July off every year. That never happened, obviously. So it's just nice that we kind of have some time in between that. Just to kind of, we joke around, we have option A and B. Oh wait, no, there's A, B, C, D, and E. So just keeping that in mind.
Thank you.
No, I hope that helped. Actually, Pat just said it doesn't marry well with Seesaw. So just,
Pat and I
Okay.
work at the same
Oh,
district.
good. Okay. So, hey,
Yeah,
hey,
we work
okay,
at the same
good.
district. So we're just
Um,
trying, and actually I've been meeting with admin on this. So I just am trying to help gear, because what I know our junior high and high school, they're up and running with Google Classroom, no problem.
mhm.
And I know the fourth grade does. Third grade, we could go either way, but like with the kindergarten classroom, Seesaw is very similar. So I just was trying to get some more information to kind of help them make that decision of what's going to work for the little kids.
Right.
So
I know,
appreciate it.
yeah, Patty's answer was awesome, but I know with Seesaw, with some of the teachers, with the elementary school, that's what they're more comfortable with.
Mhm.
So they go with Seesaw over Google Classroom. But again, yeah, pros and cons. And like Patty says, see what your district policy is of what
Yeah.
platform to use. So you're not spending all your time learning one and realizing you don't have access to it.
Right.
And, you know, some people might say, oh, well, they're going to have Google Classroom in middle school and high school. It's technology. It is constantly changing. So go with the platform that your admin supports and you feel comfortable with, and the kids will learn. I don't like that answer when they say, well, I shouldn't be teaching them this platform because when they're older, they're going to have this platform. So, but
Right.
it's constantly changing. I don't know. Patty, did you?
So Pat actually has a question about teaching live sessions. Pat, do you want to unmute and kind of share your question out?
Yes, good morning. Yes, Kelly's our brain over at our school. So I would like to make a comment about platforms. God bless our admin. They're wonderful, but this is not their wheelhouse. They're looking to us. So, and Kelly is like the only, I didn't want to say, she's one of us and she's with the admin. And so she is making our case. So what we say, what Kelly will tell them, they'll go for it. So we're in the dark here. So when Kelly's asking you, should we try this one? Should we try that one? It's up to them. They don't know because they're learning like us. So they'll go with. So that's why we're asking you. Should we? I loved what you said about it's okay to change platforms. So that might be a suggestion. I also know that it seems like Google Classroom is the coin of the realm, and so might as well just kill it now instead of suffering later. So that was the thing about platforms, if you want to comment on that.
So yeah, I definitely agree. Technology is ever changing. When we look at platforms in other school districts, they're all over the board. And sometimes they're quite costly. Google obviously is a free platform, and I will remain free for Google Classroom. I know that a lot of schools are talking about the early childhood up to second, like I'm saying second and below, of just using Dojo because of just the involvement of Google Classroom, and then using Google Classroom third on. So again, it kind of depends. You also have to look at students' access to technology. That was another thing that was brought up in all these meetings, our equal access. Our points, I live in kind of a farm town, and I know that sometimes our internet is a little spotty. We have school districts that are driving buses and having hot zones in our areas. So it again, just kind of all these factors play a role when you decide this, when you make your decision. I can't recommend one way or another, but I'm just saying I want, like, look at it, think about it, and just weigh all the pros and cons. That's the hard part. I mean, it's a hard decision to make.
Can
Do
I
you have
ask
any teachers oh, go ahead, Kelly.
I was just wondering where Terry and Emily, where are you guys from and what are you teaching since you're still hanging out and everybody left? Where are you guys at?
Emily and I both actually are third grade teachers also.
All right. Hey.
Yay! And we're from Watseka. So we're very much where you are, we did hard packets as well.
Yeah, we're moments. Pat and I are in moments.
Okay.
So the demographics very
But
similar.
I don't want to sound too lame, but I can't figure out how to get this whole slide deck. I don't know what I have to do, because how do I access it from, I don't know.
I'm gonna send you an email, Terry.
Okay, God bless you.
I'm enabling. I'm sorry, Lisa.
Oh, no, we've done that
One
before
too.
too.
Can you send me one too?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, all I did was copy, like old school copy paste.
old
that
school copy and
bit.ly,
paste.
A copy, put it in opened up Google, put that paste in there, and it popped up. So,
Okay.
okay, well, I think that's probably